Hi, and welcome to BremSter Puzzles. I'm back to the World Puzzle Federation 2016 Round 3. So these puzzles are nearly 10 years old. And I'll be honest with you, I'd forgotten this one was coming, and I'm really not looking forward to it. Because this is a multi-Sudoku, and inherently I don't mind this as a concept. It's just that the grid is going to be so small on my screen. Like, the grid is this big on my screen, like it's bigger than my head, but the pencil marks are going to be so small. Like, I read everything on my screens in large text and everything because of just difficulty I have with reading a lot of text. And I'm going to have trouble reading pencil marks on this one. So this one's going to be very, very tricky for me. And I can't imagine this is going to be easy for a lot of people to watch. I know that about 20% of people watch my videos on a phone, and about another 20% watch it on a tablet. And I cannot imagine this is going to be interesting to watch if you can't actually see the pencil marks. But this is the grid as it was presented, and I'm doing the series, so I'm going to give it a try. So this is a multi-Sudoku. Of course, this was created by Jakub Ondrosek from the Czech Republic, and it would have been a really interesting competition puzzle. Now, this is an 83-point puzzle, which means that this puzzle is like, this is just two overlapping classic Sudoku, and each one is actually apparently going to be quite tricky. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. So, of course, there'll be a link below to where you can try this for yourself, as well as to the entire World Puzzle Federation archive. Let's go through the rules, and then let's give the puzzle a try. So what we need to do is place a number from 1 to 9 in each empty cell in the two overlapping grids. So there is a grid here that contained in that is one grid, and this is another grid, such that each row, column, and marked 3x3 box contains each number exactly once. So it's worth pointing out this is one row in the top grid, and this is a different row in the other grid. So this box is shared between the two grids, but this is one row, this is a different row. So that digit and that digit could be the same. Important to understand. I'm going to restart the puzzle to restart my timer. Let's give this a shot. So I can see 3 and 3 means 3 is in one of those two. 6 and 6 means this is a 6. So this is a triple. 1, 8, and 9. There's no 9 there, so 9 is in one of those two. There's no 8 there. Okay, try to get as much as I can. This is a 4 by Sudoku because of the 4s looking into the box. So that puts 4 in one of those two, but that 4 looks across saying that's not a 4, that's a 4. So there's a triple here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, no, it's not. But 7 has to be in one of those two, but that 7 looks up saying that's not a 7, that's a 7. So now there's a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 5, 8. So these are 1, 5, and 8. The 1 looks up saying that's not the 1. Trying to get as much as possible done in this box before I move down. 8 is not in any of those, so 8 is in one of those two. 4 is in one of those two, but that 4 looks up saying not there, that's a 4. Meaning 4 is in one of those two, but that 4 looks across saying not there, that's a 4. So this is a triple. 1, 2, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 8 go into those. That's not a 1. Okay, but 4 and 4 means 4 is in one of those two. 7 and 7 means that's a 7. I'll bet this lower grid is easier because everyone's going to start at the top. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 8, and 9. There's no 8 there, that's the 8. I'll bet the trick is you start on the lower grid. 3 is in one of those two, but that 3 says it's not there. That's the 3, which puts 3 in one of those. So there's a 3 in one of those two. Not seeing how that interacts with the upper grid yet. 2, oh no, I've got 2. So 2 is in one of those two. 1 is in one of those two. That's a 2. Because of the 2's looking down and up. So 2 is not in any of those. That's a 2. So that puts 2 in one of those two. And that does it, because 2's here, I can't put 2 in any of those. Can't put 2 in any of those. 2 is in one of those 3, but those 2 2's means that is a 2. Which means there's no 2 in any of those or those. 2 is in one of those 2, which puts 2 in one of those 2. 7. 7 and 7 puts 7 in one of those 2, but that 7 looks across saying that's not a 7, so that's a 7. Now 7 is in one of those 2, but that 7 looks down saying not there, that's a 7. And those 2 7s put 7 in one of those 2, but that 7 says not there, that's a 7. Those 2 7s now put 7 in one of those 2, but that 7 says not there, that's a 7. I'm actually over pencil marking and then removing because I think it'll be easier for people who are watching on small screens to follow what I'm doing. So if I remember, that's what I'm doing. 5 and 5 puts 5 in one of those 2. So 4, I've got to put an 8 up here as well. So yeah, 8 in this box has to be in one of those. So 8 in this box is in one of those, but I'm not seeing how to use that yet. 5 and 5 means this is a 5. Which means 5 is not in any of those. This box is going to be the key to the puzzle, but I'm not seeing how to use it yet. Yes, I am. That 9 says there's no 9 in any of those. That 9 says there's no 9 in any of those. So 9 is in one of those 2, but 9 says that's not the 9, that's a 9. So 9 isn't in any of those, but those 2 9s now say that 9 is in one of those 2. Can I do more like that? Well, 7 and 7 means 7 is in one of those 2, but that 7 looks up saying not there, that's a 7. What's this triple? 1, 6, 8. That's not a 1. That's not a 6 or an 8. That's the 1. So these are 3, 5, 6, and 8. So 3, 5, 6, and 8. Well, we know there's no 3 in either of those because of that. There's no 8 or 6 there. There's no 6 there. There's no 6 there. That's a 3, 5, 8. So that's the 6. There's no 5 there. Okay. Probably missing something incredibly obvious. I am. That's a 5, 8 pair, meaning that's a 2. That is not a 2. That is not a 2. So 2 and 2 means one of those 2 is 2, but that 2 looks across saying not there. That's a 2. 3 and 3 means I can't put 3 in those or those. So 3 is in one of those 2. That 2 looks across saying that's not the 2, that's the 2. So what are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are 3 and 9. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are 5, 7, and 8. And there's no 5 in either of those because of that. So that's the 5. The 7 makes that the 8 and that the 7. The 8 looks up making that the 1, which means that's the 8. There's no 8 there. The 5, no, that's not it. So this is 3 or 8 for this column. That's 3 or 8. This is 3 or 5. But I can't use that down here. That's this column, which is different to this column. Okay. Sorry, these really small digits are very hard for me to see. So is it this? 1, 2, 5, 6. So that's 1 or 6. Well, there's no 6 in either of those. 6 is in one of those 2 because of those 6s. That can't be a 4 because of the 4, 9. That's not the 4, that's the 4. Which puts 4 in one of those. This is a triple. 1, 3, 9. There's no 1 there. Oh, and there's no 3 in either of those. That's the 9, that's the 1, that's the 3. So there's no 9 here. These are 2, 5, and 6. And there's no 5 there, and there's no 2 there. That's the 6. So this is actually a 2, 5. So this is a 1, 6. So this is a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. The 5 comes out of there. The 5 comes out of there. That's the 5. These are a 4, 9. So this column is missing 3, 8. So that has to be 3 or 8. There is a 1 in one of those two. So these are 1, 2, 3, and 8. So yeah, 2 is in one of those. 1 is in one of those. 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 8. 1, 3. So this is only 2 or 8. Okay, let's look elsewhere because this is not really getting me anywhere in this area. 7 and 7 means that's a 7. So there's a 2 in one of those two by Sudoku, and it's not there, so that's the 2, which puts a 2 down here in one of those two. So this is 1 or 5. 1, 5, 6, 9. So this is only 6 or 9 because it sees 1, 5. So 6 is in one of those two. This will be the last puzzle I record today. This is very unpleasant on my eyes. This row, 1, 4, 8. That can't be 1, so it's 4 or 8. It's 1 or 4. It seems to be any of them. Three in this column. Yeah, 3, 3. I can't put 3 there because of that. That's a 3. So 3, 3 puts 3 in one of those two. Six is in, where's 6 in this? That 6 is looking up, making that the 8 and that the 6. That would have done some damage. Because where's 6 in this box? I can't put 6 in any of those. That's the 6. So this is a triple. 4, 5, 9. There's no 5 there. One is in one of those two. So 1, 4, 8, 9. 8 is in one of those two. Huh. Six and 6 means 6 is in one of those two. That 6 is looking down, making that the 6, which puts 6 in one of those two. One, 3, 5, 9. So that's 1, 3, or 9. These are 1, 3, or 5. So 5 is definitely in one of those two, but I'm not. Right, so where's 5 in this row? It can't be in any of those. It can't be in any of those. 5 is in one of those two. So now where's 5 in this column? It can't be in any of those or any of those. 5 is now right there. So this is a triple in this row. 1, 3, 9. So this is 1 or 3. And that's any of them. But 1 is in one of those two. So where's 1 in this column? It's there. So that's not the 1. So this is a 6-9 pair now for the column, which means this is not a 9. This is a 1-3. That's a 9. That's a 3. Meaning this isn't a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is an 8. So this is 1, 3, or 5, and it's not 1. So this is 3 or 5. I am really struggling with this, aren't I? 3 is in one of those two now for this row, and that 3 is looking down. So that's the 3, that's the 6. This now has to be 1 or 9, and the 1 is looking across, making that the 9, that the 1, making that the 6, and that the 9. The 1 takes 1 out of there, so this is a 3-5 pair, but the 1 looks up making that the 9, there's no 9 there. So this is 1 or 8 for the column, and the 1 means that's the 8, that's the 1, that's the 8, looking across making that the 3, that the 5, that the 8. The 5 makes that the 1 and that the 5. The 1 makes that the 3 and that the 1. The 3 makes that the 5. These 2, 3, no, not 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 9. There's no 2 there. Well, there's no 5 there. There's no 9 there or there. So that's the 9. The 8 in the row makes that the 5, which makes that the 3 and that the 8. The 5 makes that the 3 and that the 5. The 3 makes that the 2 and that the 3. The 2 says that's not the 2, that's the 2, and this is the 1. That finishes the top grid. Okay, the 5 looks across taking 5 out of there, so that's the 5. The 8 looks across taking 8 out of there, so that's the 8. This has to be 4 or 9 to complete the top row. The 5 looks down, making that the 2 and that the 5. The 2 looks up, making that the 8. So this has to be the 2 now. Yeah, the 3 says that's not the 3, that's the 3. These are 1 and 2. And the 2 can't be there. So that's the 1, that's the 2. Four, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are 1 and 6. And the 1 means that's the 6 and that's the 1. This isn't the 1. This is 4 or 9. I've got 4 9s everywhere. Not sure how I'm going to break them open yet. So these are 1, 4, and 8. There's no 1 there, so that's 4 or 8. But the 4, 9 means that's the 8. So these are 1 and 4, and the 4 means that's the 1, that's the 4. The 1 looks down, making that the 6 and that the 1. The 4 looks across, meaning that's the 1. The 4 looks across, making that the 8. So these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9. There's no 4 in any of those. So that's the 4, making that the 9, making that the 4, making that the 9, making that the 4, making that the 9, making that the 4. The 6 looks down, making that the 9 and that the 6, and the 9 looks down, making that the 4 and that the 9. And that is the solution to the puzzle. Now, 16 minutes for 83 points, or 16 and a half minutes for 83 points. Yeah, I'm still hitting the 5 point a minute marker. Okay. I now have a headache because staring at those really tiny pencil marks just hurts. But it's the way it works. It's just the way it works. Hopefully you were able to enjoy this puzzle a little bit more because the less eye strain. That's okay. But I really enjoyed the logic on it. It was very, very cool. I wish there was an easier way for me to record these. Yeah, I just wish there was. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the puzzle. And as always, good luck with your solving.